I went into jail, not really, but not that big of an addiction issue, and I could clearly say I got out with a way heavier addiction.
Is it hard to get drugs in jail?
Not at all.
Saskatchewan's jails have a drug problem. For years, all 4 of the province's adult jails have been dealing with drug smuggling, and a majority of inmates deal with addictions issues. At the Regina Correctional Centre in 2018 alone, staff made 305 seizures of different substances. Despite these problems, the provincial government wasn't keeping track of overdoses until the fall of 2018. That's when 9 suspected overdoses were reported in just 1 month at Saskatoon's Correctional Centre. The government is taking steps to curb drug smuggling by installing body scanners. But advocates and former inmates say that doesn't directly help the people inside the jails who are addicted to drugs.
I was basically born into addictions. My mother and my grandmother, everything was seen destined for me to follow the same path that my family was going through. So everybody around me was using, whether it was in jail, during incarceration, or out of. There's always that need to be high, and dealing with that addiction inside, there was no opportunity to help you. It was always just, don't do this, don't do that. There was no need to understand why, what was going on in my life, or what kind of a boy I was, or what kind of pain or trauma I've already been through.
So I was born in Moose Jaw. My parents were alcoholics. My earliest memories are being locked in the bedroom with my sister, hammering at the window with a toy hammer, telling her, "Don't worry, I'll get us outside so we can go play outside." So we're locked in the bedroom. So at 12 years old, I was running away from home, experimenting with drugs and alcohol, weed, and hanging out with negative friends and staying out all night and not going home, and just, looking to fill that void of belonging and love and wanting to be a part of something. By that time, I was already experimenting with drugs and alcohol. So at the age of 13 is when I first entered the justice system.
I'd say it started a long time ago when I was probably 9 or 10, man. And that's when I first started getting into trouble, hanging out with bad groups of kids and stuff. And the first time I ever got apprehended by the police, I was 13 years old. I guess that's a big problem that got me into jail too, is addiction. Because I didn't when I was younger and stuff, 15, 16, when I first started getting kind of into hard, I didn't have that big of a addiction problem, but as I got older, 17, 18, 19, it kind of really picked up, and as I turned into an adult. When I was in there and I started doing hydromorphs, it was ugly when I got out, man. I got out and I was sick, I was physically sick, and I had no addiction at all to opiates at all before I went into jail. I like to party, right? So I do a lot of XC, I do a lot of coke and stuff, and honestly, I didn't really think I had that big of a drug problem. So, but yeah. I'd say jail definitely made it worse.
I wasn't aware of my issues until I was 34 years old. I wasn't aware that I had abandonment issues until I went to treatment and it was pointed out to me. If you have a professional who comes into the jail and asks you about your life and then points out to you, "Hey, this might be an issue for you," and the person starts thinking, because they're in jail, they're thinking clearly, they're not using, so awareness is key. Once you become aware of issues, your issues, then you can start working to fix them and correct them.
There's little to none help in there at all for anybody dealing with addictions or even trying to better themselves,
There's not a big belief in people's changes during prison. They're focused more on keeping you down than empowering you as an adult or as a young man. It's all about authority and the power they have over you.
Yeah, the system is broken for sure. They gotta stop treating people like animals that need to be caged up. Start treating people like human beings, like we are. And just any kind of counseling or programming, having people come in, spiritual people straight up, people who can come in and sit down and talk with the person and just talking with people helps a lot. It's really therapeutic, and like a counselor, counselors would help a lot.
The correctional center does not see its mandate as one of becoming involved in a healing, a wellness process. They see themselves as a place where guys are going to live until they're sentenced back into the correctional center or to the pen.
Well, over the past few years, I think it's at an all-time high, and it's certainly at a critical mass, and we see more drugs going into an institution than ever before. If you are on remand and you're not sentenced, then you don't get any programming, and that's problematic for somebody who's experiencing an addiction or an issue or a problem. Obviously, we'd like to see more community supports. We'd like to see more treatment centers for women, who are incarcerated, specifically for incarcerated people, and more going out rather than just, solving the addiction issue while they're inside. And more programming, more supports, and more health care.
They could definitely use a lot of help in addiction fields for people, helping people in jail. I don't think there's enough help at all for people like that. And to tell you the truth, I could sit here and speculate on all I want, but I don't think I don't know a solution, but I know there's people that they could figure out a solution and stuff, and I think there definitely needs to be done because there's a big issue with it in jail.